Hi there, it's the 7th of March 2014 and today I just want to talk a little bit about one aspect of soil depletion. Well, generally soil depletion is something you think of happening in the Sahara or something in Africa, where the desert's encroaching onto what was once farmland and the soil's drying out and blowing away, but it's also alive and well here in the UK. And right here in front of you, you have a great example of how soils are being depleted for really stupid reasons, actually. So yeah, this field here, well, this is planted with maize each year, and it's already had a whole load of manure put on it and ploughed into it, and the soil, it still doesn't look that great, but if I show you the edge of the field where the manure didn't end up and there was no new organic matter put into the soil, you can see it's pretty much sand, this stuff. There's really not much nutrient left in that soil at all. And the reason this happens with maize in particular is because when you plant a crop of maize, the actual maize plants are planted several feet apart, and there's quite a lot of soil exposed to the elements anyway, even when the plants are growing. And then the plants are really only growing for less than half the year, and then for the other, well, getting on for three-fifths of the year, it pretty much looks like this. And yeah, you can see the difference in the colour of this soil on the ground down here, and just compare it to the natural soil. So nice dark soil here, where the soil's held together by plants and it's regularly nutrified by dying plants and leaves from these trees up here. But then you can see in this field here, where there's been a lot of rain here recently, and you can see what's exposed sand really in the middle of this field. And what happens is, when a field like this is exposed to elements, the soil just washes off. And you can see this channel here, this isn't normally here, this may have been put here by the farmer, it looks like it possibly was, but there's certainly other channels in this field. You can see here where there's a kind of like stream developed at some point, and yeah, the soil literally just runs off and eventually ends up in the river systems and leaves the land. And yeah, it's literally the future of agriculture washing away down the drain. And part of the reason why this is such a stupid thing is if you're a farmer and you're growing crops, you're given guidelines to prevent soil compaction, which leads to topsoil washing away, and soil depletion like this. You're given guidelines to stop that happening, and there's soil inspectors are supposed to turn up and test your soil, and if it's not all okay, they tell you to do something about it. They don't actually enforce you to do anything about it, but they tell you to do something about it. And now I believe with soil washing away off land like this, soil literally being stripped off the land, there is some kind of enforcement available to stop that happening. But if you're growing maize, you're exempt from these regulations. The worst crop for causing soil depletion is the one crop
that they've exempted, and it looks really suspicious. And I think George Monbiot, whatever you call him, whatever his name is, he's been trying to contact the relevant government department, DEFRA, the Department of Environment, Fisheries and Rural Affairs, I think that stands for. Yeah, he's been trying to contact them. Well, I think he has contacted them repeatedly and asked them, why is maize the one crop that is exempt from this regulation about maintaining your topsoil? And he hasn't received an answer. And like I say, this all looks really suspicious. Maize is grown for ethanol production, and anyone who's looked into what the environmental benefits of ethanol production are will know very well that it's pretty much a waste of time. It's by no means an ecologically sound way to get fuel. Yeah, this is big business, and a lot of farmers, I imagine the farmers who own those, well, those are probably gypsies who own those horses, but a lot of farmers who are a bit more small time are really struggling, and they're all going out of business. And meanwhile, there's big industrial farmers who are doing things like this, growing maize, depleting our topsoil. And here you can see water running down this stream here, washing away the topsoil. Yeah, I mean, just look at the state of this soil here. I mean, this is dead. There is no life in this soil. Now, I've no idea whether the maize grown in this field is going for ethanol or whether it's going to cattle feed. Either way, it's going towards some sort of corporate profits at the expense of the environment. And fortunately, with these fields, what they've been doing is leaving them, or it's certainly leaving this field and the one ahead, leaving them fallow for a few years, and you get some quite nice wildflowers in them, and they seem to recover a bit. But yeah, ultimately, this is everybody's heritage being destroyed for profit and being helped along by government regulation. Or should I say, it's being helped along by lack of government regulation. It's being allowed to happen. Yeah, so this is basically going on because, I mean, when you think of farmers, you think of, your small-time farmer living in his farmhouse and all that, and yeah, those farmers are not the people I'm talking about. They are struggling. They've got the highest suicide rate for any occupation in the country. Most of them, I think the average age of a farmer in this country is pretty close to 70. It might even be over 70. There's so little money in it that people do it because they want to, not because it's an easy way to survive. But there's other farmers, huge landowners, I think, and once again you have all those at the top creaming off vast amounts at everybody else's expense. And in the case of topsoil depletion in the UK, the expense of not just people in the UK now, but future generations. Yeah, it's just one of the many examples of how corporations take over, don't really care. All that matters is making a profit, and making it a short-term profit with absolutely no foresight of what's going to happen 20, 30 years down the line.